Hello. Good evening. I hope everyone is well. Looks as though, how's the focus? Is the camera focusing? It's not supposed to focus. It doesn't have autofocus. But, oh, I just saw it do its thing again. So weird. It does not have autofocus, but it keeps wanting to autofocus. Let's see what we can do about that. Maybe that actually looks like how it's supposed to look. So hopefully it doesn't autofocus. Hope everyone is well. Some last minute jams here, last minute camera woes. Nothing major. Just I don't understand this autofocus thing. But hello, Aiden. Hello, Beard Guy. Development of a Void. Tyler Adams. And Development of a Void again. Aiden is asking, what is the baritone in the thumbnail? That there is not a baritone. It is a 24.75 inch scale Schecter 006. They're not currently available, but it was a popular Schecter model for a long time. And I just thought it would be funny. The topic today is barely baritone. I get a lot of questions about, I'm not sure if I don't get the message across, but I feel like the channel is pretty clearly about longer baritones and tuning a bunch lower and trying to get the best results, not trying to go so low that it gets worse again. So today we're going to talk about that stuff. We're going to talk about sort of 3 points surrounding that idea. I feel like if I get as many questions as I do surrounding that topic, I guess it's not getting out there enough. So let's get it out there. A few more hellos. We got Mr. Sean Heath. Good morning. I hope the coffee is delicious. Hayden, Evan, and Estro Turk 1A. Estro Turk. I hope I'm saying that right. Maybe I'm not. Mr. Miles. How are you, Miles? Good to see you. Kids got bedtime soon. Oh yeah, that's right. Papa Miles gotta put the kids to bed. Pedro, how are you? Hope all is well. But yeah, today's topic is barely baritone. I couldn't really think of a good title to describe it, but it is, short guitars, using short guitars for baritone rolls. What scale lengths match with what tuning, and bass guitars. Can you use basses as baritones? Yes, we've covered all these things before, but we're going to cover them in different ways today. And your input, your conversations in the chat are going to contribute to all of these ideas and expand upon all of these ideas. So I hope everybody's well. It's getting crazy here in Toronto with all this COVID stuff. Lots of people in the hospital on ventilators, unbelievable amounts. And it's alarming, but yeah, great. We're going to try and stay positive here and stay out of public. So as always, before we get into the topics, we got, all the Bunn stuff here. If you're down with the Bunn and what the Bunn is doing, there's a whole bunch of ways to kind of follow along. I'm going to drop the link in the chat if you want to explore those things. Everything from Patreon and YouTube memberships to merchandise to, creative assets, all that cool stuff. A lot of people help out. Very thankful for that. It allows me to do it more. No pressure on any of it, of course, but it's my job to let it be known. So I'm just letting it be known. So thank you to everybody who has helped out this far. and who is interested in everything that's going on here. And some of those people specifically are a few people with me over at YouTube memberships, Jason Oshosky, Aiden, and Aiden Hiller, and Datamouth. Thank you to those folks over there with me, and a bunch of folks with me over at Patreon. These are the upper tier members. The upper tier members get a cool credit in all the videos. Excuse me. Top tier of Patreon and the only tier at YouTube memberships is the same. But Lucas, Kevin, Phil, Sean Heath, actually, the Reaper Blog, Renato, Apoplexia, Donna, James, Brandon. I always say Braden when I get to that one. I don't know why, but Brandon, I got it right today. John Gloom, Tyler Adams, Ben Drakeford, Eric, Adrian, J. Cruz, Baritone called Anthony, Nieto, Mile, Derek, and Dennis. Thanks to all of you folks with me over at those fine places. Been getting a lot more content out to like behind the scenes content and more assets. Some beta Vens drum assets went out today. I hope some of y'all got it and got to fool with it. You know, it's probably a lot to take in. So, but yeah, thanks to all those folks with me in all those places. Few more hellos. Benjamin, how are you? Greetings. Good evening. I am Colossus, Gunky Zip, and Reed. Awesome. I'm super stoked that you guys all made it out tonight. I may not make next Friday. I'll let the world know. This week I may be cramming on getting videos done. I'm about to finish. I should finish some videos tomorrow, but I want to finish more videos. I want to get ahead. So I may take this whole week to get ahead. So for me, possibly no Bandless, possibly no Bunn Live next Friday. Not exactly sure. Like I say, I'll let the world know as the week goes. But we're going to get into today's thing. And whatchamacallit. So this is gonna come up in the very first topic here. AstroTurk. I think it's AstroTurk. But AstroTurk, we're gonna get to this right away. This is the very first topic, so not to worry on that one. So point one, we're getting right into it. Regular guitar as a baritone guitar. This is a very popular question. It never, ever, ever, it's a ceaseless question. And it will probably be ceaseless for the rest of my existence. Because that's the way the world works. But we're going to address it. We're going to address these comments, these ideas, these questions, these thoughts, as much as possible to get the word out there, get people's minds on it. So a regular guitar is a baritone guitar. Yes, you can do it. The criteria for a baritone guitar is not the scale length. However, a purpose-built guitar with more scale length accommodates these things with less challenges. So less heavy of strings and more tension on the strings, or the adequate amount of tension on the strings. And these sorts of things, better tuning, intonation, all of that kind of stuff. Just better play, better tone, better ring, better sustain, all that stuff. That's the thing with longer scale for purpose-built baritone guitar. But if you're not tuning very low, oh, I'm still stuck on my screen here. Damn it. I keep doing that. Nick Hill's going to call me up. He's like, hey man, you're stuck on your card. And that was fun last time he did it, but it would be embarrassing if it had to happen again. But, this question that AstroTurk has to say, or has to poise, I have a 25.5 inch scale Ibanez, but I want to use, B to C tuning. So I guess it's a drop B tuning. and it's not working very well. Which guitar do I have? Which guitar should I get, I guess is the question. It can work. It's just the string gauge has to go up. And as the string gauge goes up, the sustain goes down and the tone gets duller. And that's one of the things with using a short guitar. But you can use a short guitar. There's a couple things if you're putting really heavy strings on a short guitar and the intonation isn't working out. One of the things, this comes up a lot, but with heavier strings, the string will, I don't know how well you can see this, but with heavier strings, the string will kind of not break at a clean angle over the bridge saddle. So you want to push it down after you've put these new heavy strings on to make sure that it is a clean, straight break so that the edge of the bridge saddle and the string are having a clean connection and thus good intonation. So that's one thing with really any baritone and heavier strings. Heavier strings need a little bit of help to sort of seat down and get your intonation happening. Second is with the, people have been tuning to drop B and drop A on 25.5 inch scale guitars forever. Ugh, I didn't put my little stool here. So this guitar is a 24.75 Schecter 006. They don't make them at the moment, but whatever. It's an old guitar. It's short. And something you can do with the super short guitars is, I don't have this set up for this. It's just an example, but I have it in G and it's GG. So the whole guitar is dropped a half step down and then the lowest string is dropped to G. And so anyway, the strings on here are not super heavy. Strings on here are like 11 to 56 or something like that. They're very, very light. Another thing with tuning a short scale instrument really low with any strings, if you want to get better tuning performance, is pick really lightly and you'll get a little bit better performance in terms of tuning. The string won't dive. If I pick the way I normally pick, you can hear it diving. What's happening is the string is sharping and then it's returning to pitch because I'm picking the way I normally pick. Which can be a cool sound. I've heard bands use that to great effect to make their tunes sound more brutal. But if you pick really lightly, you don't get as good of a tone. Well, I don't know. That's arguable. But you can use a really short scale guitar to tune super low. Will the intonation be great? Probably not. Probably be terrible. Will the tone be great? Probably not. But can you make something with it? Probably. And if that's all you got, that's what you should use. And experimenting with string gauges, heavier strings and all that kind of stuff, definitely advisable. However, just try drop tuning the instrument that you have right away. If the strings are really light, it's probably going to be super bad. Like I say, this is 11 to 56 or 11 to 58. And if you pick really, really light, tuning is terrible. That's surprisingly in tune. That should be worse than it is, but it's working out. Anyway, yeah, number one rule is use what you got. Try and make it work. So how I ended up here, the baritone guy on the internet, is I started with guitars like this, a Les Paul, an SG, like short guitars. And I tuned them down. And I just got dissatisfied with what I was getting out of them, and I wanted it to be better. Because I was recording a lot. And recording, especially if you're recording multiple guitars, different guitars against each other, you start to notice like, man, this is so out of tune and it's so jacked. Like, what is up? Or the sustain isn't there, or the tone is so dull because the strings are so big. And all these questions start coming up. And you're like, how do I fix this? How do I make it better? And I arrived at baritone guitars. Do I preach the baritone gospel? Like, you know, baritone is the only thing you should do? No, that's not what this channel is about. This channel is for folks who are looking for good results for specific tuning ranges. So, and that specific tuning range is mostly like A, more G, down to low E, E1 standard. So that's kind of what's going on here. But yeah, if all you got is a 24.75 inch scale guitar, it's very dark. You can't even see it, but but if that's all you got, that's what you use. And don't wait to get a baritone guitar to make music, or don't wait for anything to make music. Make music with what you got. And yeah, be creative first, and then fill in the gaps as you can with things as you can acquire them, if you need to acquire them. So that's, I guess, the first part. Can you use a regular guitar for a baritone guitar? Yes. Can you go absurdly low? You can go pretty low. You know, it sounds like what it sounds. If you can accept that, that's cool. If you're only going to play down in the lower register, are we on camera? So first 3 frets. Starts to kind of really fall apart on the 5th fret. But yeah, first 3 frets. I'm picking super low, or super light rather. But yeah, if you're going really low just for the low notes, and you're going to pick up the rest of the stuff on the higher notes, probably going to be fine. That's what a lot of people do. I know so many people who have 8 strings, and they never really fret the lower string. They just play the open note. And they don't really use any of the higher strings either, which is weird. I don't know why you have an 8 string, but whatever. So we're going to get rid of that comment. But very relevant opening comment, AstroTurk or AstroTurk. I don't know if there's an accent on it or not. But yeah, topic 1. Can I use a regular guitar for baritone? Sure. You know, even if you're going super low, just see what you can do with it. Doesn't really matter. Is it going to be great? Don't expect it to be great. Don't worry about it being great. Just try and get what you can get out of it if that's all you got, and make music. Just make music. Another thing I want to bring up with the guitars that are short, using guitars that are short for baritone stuff or super low stuff, is I have this tuned where it's G. So the whole guitar is dropped 1 tone, like down to D standard. And then I've dropped the lowest string to G. So it's G, G. So it's in an octave. It barely holds together. I can push the string off the fretboard just if I press a little too hard. It's really easy to fret though. But yeah, you can do this octave thing. It's very that's a common thing if you get the strings a little bit heavier than what I have here. It's really out of tune. No surprise. There we go. Whatever. It's terrible, but if you had slightly heavier strings, you could probably make it sound okay. So that's some stuff you can do with super short scale guitars. Can you do it? Sure. Try it. You know, number one rule, try it. See what happens. If you're satisfied with the results, then that's great. Be creative. Focus on being creative. And as time goes on, as your production routine improves, or if it needs to improve, you can fill it in with, you know, better guitars or whatever after the fact. Doesn't really matter. You know, before baritone guitars were a craze, people weren't going that low, but people were tuning to B and A for a really long time. And there was a band from, I believe, either from Milwaukee or Minnesota, not too sure, Minnesota or Milwaukee. They were called Disembodied, and they were tuning down to G on Ibanez RGs, regular 25.5 inch scale RGs, drop G, a long time ago, you know, and they didn't care. It sounded great. Well, I don't know if it sounded great, but it sounded brutal and awesome. So yeah, do that. Gonna grab a few comments here, get into it. Cosman says, "What's up, Bunn?" Cosman, I don't know if you can see this. That's the Cosman. Me and the Cosman are right here. Cosman made this cable for me for the Bunn. Short coily cables at the desk, nice and neat. Never have cables rolled up on the floor. They're just like hanging, ready to go, clean. Thank you, Cosman. Hit them up if you need cables. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, that's some news. Eccentrics rather. Somebody's selling a Sub-Zero Rogue for $2,000. Yeah, they're trying to capitalize on that scarcity, and there will be somebody who will probably buy it. You know, if you make 50 grand a week or whatever, if you're a day trader and you do, you know, you make 50, 100 grand a week, who cares? Are those people buying baritone guitars? You'd be surprised. More of them these days are than we know. Keith Body, my homie from my hometown. How are you, man? I hope all is well. He says Ian Thornley pulled a pretty decently detune, but he really talked about having to play soft to stay in tune a lot. Yeah. There's a bunch of things. Play really, really soft, play with a really soft pick, use slightly heavier strings, make sure that the guitar is set up well, and that the break angles over the bridge and the nut are clean, like the string is breaking at the correct angle. And those things help a lot. It's only going to do so much, but if that's all you got, then great. And if, you know, I think considering what the job is, like, what is it that I'm doing and does it matter? A lot of people are that way. A lot of people are like, oh, I need an 8 string to play the first 3 notes of the lowest string over and over again. And you could have, you know, what was that thing? The gent stick doesn't even have frets on it. Has 1 string and proof of concept that You don't need too many strings to have this super sick, genty sounding thing. So yeah, I don't know. Think about the job that you're doing first and what is required. And yeah, you can usually make it work in some way. And self-inflatable. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I was thinking about self-inflatable when I started this topic. Yeah, he was tuning to like drop B and drop A with same kind of thing, like 11 to 54, 11 to 56, maybe not even that heavy, a long time ago. Was it awesome? No, it wasn't awesome, but you know, it's something you can do. The album was Ghost's first tune, Hot. That would be the Ian Thornley thing. Yeah, I did a tour with whatchamacallit, Big Wreck. And yeah, they have so many tunings, it's crazy. And they sound pretty friggin' heavy. Given they were a radio rock band, I was blown away when I saw them live. I was like, huh? I didn't realize they were this heavy. They were really heavy. Benjamin says, today he swapped the pickups in the Gretsch and he's excited to try them out. GFS NY3s. They should be much hotter. I'll update next Bunn stream on how they sound. Cool. I'm very curious. Yeah, I've been considering the GFS pickups again. What I know of them in the past, actually Self-Inflatable got some GFS pickups quite a long time ago, like 10 years ago. And one, or maybe both of them were microphonic, and we kind of never really went back to that company for pickups. For other things, totally. But Stephen Barton and Self-Inflatable both live in London, London, Canada, which is interesting. But Stephen Barton of Gear Stuff and Things has been using GFS pickups lately for the last while with great success. So yeah, I'm really curious to kind of go back to it and try it again. So yeah, very curious what you have to say, Benjamin. It's my homie, Synth Chris. How are you, Synth Chris? I hope all is well. This guy, his channel's awesome. Check out Synth Chris' channel. He does some weird stuff. He does a bunch of baritone stuff, but he also does this stuff with like, he writes programs to write randomizations for music composition. It's crazy. It's really awesome. Hope all is well, Synth Chris. All the guys are like, "What's up, Chris? Hey, Chris, what's going on?" Strung Out says, I find a tunematic bridge has been the least hassle for me. Drop B is no problem for me on a 25.5 inch scale guitar, even 24.75 in one case. And there's probably a reason for that. Do I have a tunematic ready to go here? No, it's under the desk in a case. Damn it. Yeah. Anyway. So speaking to the tunematic thing, one of the things about the tunematic that it offers is the string, like the bridge saddle contact and the string are contacting like pretty sharply. You still should push the string down and have a clean break angle of the string, like coming up over the bridge. How's my angle here? So the string coming up from the stop tail piece, hitting the bridge saddle and just going straight. A lot of times it kind of arcs over when you're using heavier strings, but one of the things about a tunematic is it kind of guarantees a slightly cleaner break, because especially if the stop tail is like, you know, pretty low, so you have a steeper break angle. A steeper break angle after the bridge. But yeah, tunematics, that's probably what's going on with the tunematic. There's just less bridge material, less saddle material for the string to contact with, and more likely to have a cleaner break angle, or at least a cleaner point of contact specific to the intonation. So something to think about there. One thing I like about tunematics is they have limited travel. So some people are like, oh, don't you want a lot of intonation travel? Actually, if you have enough scale length, you don't need a lot of intonation travel. You should only have to intonate a little bit, you know, to get it in to the tuning that you want. So yeah, Tunematics, there's some stuff going on there. My favorite is like a, you know, a Telecaster style bridge, not the classic ones. I know, whatchamacallit, Self-Inflatable loves those classic ashtray bridges, but I like the more modern Tele bridges. I'll get cursed out for that for sure. And Gunky Zip says, issue if you're trying an Ibanez with a Floyd Rose, you can only increase the string gauge so far, then you have problems with the nut. Yeah, the thing to do is to lock the bridge down, and it's pretty easy to lock a Floyd down. And with the nut, after that, you can just take the thing right out, like the locking nut. If the bridge is locked down, you can just take the locking nut right out. If you're going to commit to this low tuning thing, but you know, that's all reversible as well. So kind of a cool thing. Hayden says 24-inch Jaguar aggro dude here on drop A sharp, perfect intonation, drop A, quite decent intonation, a drop A sharp, perfect intonation, with an 8-string set and sick tone. I don't know. I would like to play it. I don't know. I don't know if it's physically possible, but to be perfect intonation, maybe. But yeah, I would like it in my own hands because I've had a 24-inch scale guitar previously, but they're not all the same. But the scale length says probably not perfect, but maybe. I have Ibanez Uni with Floyd, so I know. There we go. Oh, Gunky Zip. Yeah. Yeah. Lock it down and you're all good. Yeah. Cameron, the wow. Danny says, hey humans, how is everyone? Hope you're well. Danny, hope all is good in your neck of the woods. Anthony Poto. The Bunn. How are you doing, dude? I'm going to finish our video tomorrow. For all of you out there, Anthony, I don't know if you got any jams on your channel there, Anthony, but Anthony is the fellow that I did the swap in his PRS Mashak. And yeah, I finished all the playthroughs today. So yeah, pretty stoked. It's been like months. Hope you're well, Anthony, and keeping safe. Of course you're keeping safe. You know it. You know how to do it. And I am Calias RGA 7620 Royal Blue sounds killer. PITA to tune and PITA to tune. Not sure what that means. And get intonated well. If you could elaborate on PITA, that'd be great. Oh, Astroturk, you're in Turkey. That's amazing. Okay. And it's 4 a.m. Well, I'm stoked that you made the stream. I hope you feel okay tomorrow. Just sleep in a little bit. Do a little, you know, sleep till noon type of thing. Late, get up late, have brunch, you know, make a tasty brunch. Stoked you're with us here tonight. I'm sure everyone else is stoked as well. Yeah. By the way, as you can see here, I'm going to bring up Gunky Zip. Gunky Zip's comment here. He says, at Danny Farago, this human is stoked. Which is rad, super stoked. But if you use the @ symbol in front of a person's username, you can say hello to them, or you can have a inner chat conversation. And that happens here a lot. Inner chat conversations are a cool thing. There are not a lot of baritoners in any given city. So a lot of them tend to congregate here and other places that I have kind of built on the internet, or that I'm a part of on the internet, I guess. And so yeah, meet your fellow folks, you know, guys and gals who are going low, and yeah, say hello and just be stoked. So we're going to move to our next comment, or not our next comment, our next point in the whole topic. Point 2 is what tuning for what scale. This comes up a lot. I've attempted to answer this a couple times. I think I'm going to do a renewed video on it with a little bit more, even more elaborate than the past. But we can go and do this here. We're going to jam into the old YouTubes. But I have these videos that I made. The first one that I made is, if you look down here, I'll scroll down a bit. So this one's called 6 Baritone Guitar Scale Lengths, a Rough Guide. Stuck with the Bunn, episode 3. Look at that. I actually look younger. It's wild. But this one I go through, I don't know, scale length, 26.
To kick it off, we're going to talk about 26.5 inch scale. And
I think I'm actually hungover in this video. I was partying the night before, probably, but I don't look great. We're going to get out of there. But anyhow, there's that video, sorry, and this video. Super low tuning. I'm going to scroll up a bit here as well. This is a more produced video. Also a Stuck with the Bunn, but super low tuning baritone guitar strings. Great title. But I go through all the scale lengths on this as well. You know, you can kind of see bam, E, bam, bam, bam. And this video is all about strings and all about the sort of topics surrounding strings and tuning and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to do an updated video on scale lengths specifically with all of my renewed knowledge and insights. But yeah, those two videos, you can seek those out. What scale length for what tuning? You know, I get a lot of things. It's like I have a 26.5 inch scale guitar. How low can I tune it? Well, the very first answer is how low, just detune it and see what you can get out of it. And then second is, if it doesn't work too well, increase the string gauge. And once you increase the string gauge to a point where the tone is just absolutely terrible and there's no more sustain left, then you're like, okay, I've definitely reached the limits of this scale length. The thing about it that's difficult to answer is that I seek to have really, really good results. So anything for me that is a hack or anything that is outside of really, really good results, I'm not interested in. I don't even want to talk about it. But we're going to talk about it here and today because it's important to, you know, keep in mind and yeah, and just kind of know where you're at. But yeah, very first rule is take whatever scale length you have and push it as far as you can to the point that you are satisfied. And that's the right answer. And focus on making things. Don't worry so much about what other people are saying, even me. And then the second thing is, if you seek really, really good results, well, there's a lot of resources to kind of help you. And, you know, this channel seeks to be that for a lot of people, but there's also like the forums like baritoneobsessed.com. There's a lot of people there. Although these days there's more and more short baritoners on baritoneobsessed.com or Baritone Obsessed Facebook group, which baritoneobsessed.com gets you there. So maybe we got to whip that group back into shape. But yeah, if whatever you're satisfied with, I've realized that a lot of people are very satisfied with very poor results. They don't care. And they don't even know the difference. And to be completely frank, I'm just being very frank here. If you can't tell the difference, who cares? You know, Like, who cares what anybody else is saying? Just do it. And if it's really important to you to have accuracy and all that kind of stuff, then, then change things. But like, if you can't hear it, if you can't tell the difference, don't worry about it. It's just music. At the end of the day, it's just music. Have fun with it in any way that you want to have fun with it. That's the most important thing. It's not about like right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. It's just music. It's there for the enjoyment of it. And however you wish to enjoy it, that's number one rule. But what scale length for what tuning, or what tuning for what scale length? Well, I have two guides on that. They're pretty good. Like, they're pretty good, rough guides to get you in the ballpark if you're concerned with really good results. I've tried everything. I started with super short guitars and I was dissatisfied, and I ended up here. But not everybody is as dissatisfied as I am. And that's just the way it is with human beings. We're all different. So yeah, I have two of those resources, as well as almost like a ton of people in the comments here in the chat have a great deal of experience with these things. Some people are, novice, but yeah, talk to each other, try and get a feel for what you want to do and all that kind of stuff. And that's about it for that. We're going to grab a few comments. Cameron here says, yo, what do you think of Meshuggah finally going down to F0 on the new record? Finally went to 40-inch scale Quake bass. Yeah, 39.64, I think, inches. Almost 40. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. You can do it pretty easily with the Quake bass. Like, the ding wall kind of does an F. People do it. I would never do it personally. I think it's not very good, but I know other people who've done it, and the result, like what it sounds like in the recording, ends up sounding okay. There's a bunch of things you can do with the production to up the results. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Meshuggah's, doing that octave down. I've yet to actually listen to it because I'm just in my own tunnel world here, trying to get music and videos done. But I'm going to listen to it. It keeps coming across the desk here a lot. They're using a 200 gram string. That's wild. Or 200 gauge string. So I don't know if I want to play that string. I'm sure it sounds great though with the scale length. The thing about really, really heavy strings is, with enough scale length, it's not really that heavy. It's going to be weird to play, like, the fretting and the picking, but the way it sounds out, if it has enough, if everything is kind of equaled out in terms of scale length, string gauge, and tuning, the string will actually perform at its optimum. That's the whole goal with the long scale stuff, is to kind of match everything up to get optimization. Eccentrics is saying, I'm a heavy-handed aggressive picker too. My right hand could swing Thor's hammer, no problem. And I think, you're playing a 25.5. And yeah, you got to pick a little bit lighter. Well, you'll get better results picking a little bit lighter, but you also get that bow, which can be cool. The bow can be cool. There's things about the bow I really like. Look at who it is. It's Mr. Anthony Nieto. How are you, Anthony? I hope all is well, man. So I really need a baritone. AstroTurk, it's up to you. I'm not going to say that whether or not you really need one, but I think based on a lot of the sort of content that I've put together, as well as, you know what you want to do music wise, like what your goals musically, technically, artistically are. So put it all together and you'll probably arrive at a good answer. Bam, bam, bam. Elsewhere says, what's up, Bunn dude? I've been trying to find an RGI B21 for about a month now. It's like they're extinct. No, they still exist. They're not discontinuing that model. It's just manufacturing is all effed up right now, and fulfillment, or not fulfillment. What do you call that? Like shipping and all that kind of stuff. Everything is effed up with the variant COVID stuff and all this craziness going on. It's it's a wild time. So the RGI B21 they'll make some more, but yeah. Jazz Monkey says he loves his 26.5 in A standard. Yeah, I had an Ibanez RGR 621XW for a little bit, and that was 26.5, and I had it in A, and I got really, really great results out of it. And yeah, I really enjoyed playing that guitar. It can work very well, depending. Hayden says F0, 21 hertz, human ear 20 to 20. Well, my little daughter may hear the note there because most adult people just can't. So this is actually an interesting comment because if you produce a lot of this low stuff, I produce a ton of this low stuff. And something I do with all of the instruments, like guitars, bass, kick drums, everything, is I just cut the fundamental right off. And we might be able to actually, I wonder if we can bring that up. What happens if I go to cam and window? Ah, damn, it doesn't copy. Oh, there we go. Look at that. HX Stomp. Great. So what do we got? Does that fit? It fits. So if we go to, it doesn't show it very well here, but like, let's go to a bass patch, foreign space. Great. And let's go to the EQ and the low cut, 65 hertz. If you look at that right there. So yeah, I cut all the sub bass out and I'm tuned down to low G, and it does not sound like anything's missing. But it sounds a lot better when you cut out all the super sub frequency stuff. So cool little tip there. If you're tuning super low and you're like, what am I going to do in terms of getting rid of all of this or dealing with all of this sub bass? A lot of people are really concerned. It's like with guitar, they're like, do I need a bass amp for my guitar sound? And with their bass system, they're like, do I need like 18-inch speakers and sub cannons or whatever? And the answer is no. Typically, you want to get rid of all that stuff in terms of making music that is going to, sound good live, sound good on record. You get rid of the super fundamental notes, the second, third, and fourth, all the partials above the fundamental, put the note back together, and you don't notice that the fundamental is missing whatsoever. There is no fundamental on any of my guitar or any of my bass on any of my music ever. It's all gone, all cut out, and it's fine. And this is going to be the case with most of the music that you listen to, especially like the low stuff. The fundamental, gone. So cool little hack. Try it out. Get into your DAW and cut the fundamental out. Cut pretty high, especially on the bass guitar. Get it up around 75. I cut around 65, 65 to 75, depending on what I'm doing. And it makes things sound quite nice. It can make things sound quite nice. Depends what you want to do. I find I wouldn't be able to put out music with any of that sub bass in there. It just wouldn't mix well. It doesn't sound good, at least to me. And Miles Does Music says, I remember GHS having a Zakk Wylde signature set, and the low E string was a 70 gauge. Had a kid bring this guitar in after trying to string his SG in standard tuning with those. Whoa, standard tuning like standard E? Wow, that's wild. That's going to be a really tight, really dead string with really no... I don't think there would be any sustain to that. Usually it's so tight that it chokes itself out from ringing. And it's so fat for how short it is. Interesting. So weird. Ba, ba, ba. Crazy. I'm way back in the comments here, it looks like. Hurting my fingers. Da, 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 da. Okay. My pleasure, my brother. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm way back. Cosman responding to my thing. I must be way back. I'm gonna skip ahead here and then we can go back. I kind of like doing that. I just want to make sure that I'm kind of a little bit more with the conversation. I seem to be quite a bit behind. William, thank you. Highly appreciated, man. Hey, Bunn, hope all is well. Question, will we ever see you play an 8? If you haven't already. No. Well, it doesn't mean that I won't. Like, you may see me play an 8 at some point, but I'm not jazzed on them. I'm not like, it's not a thing that I'm keen to do. It's not a thing I'm excited about. I'm very much into 6-string guitars. I'm really, 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 really not into 7, 8, 9, anything more than 6 strings on a guitar. Really, really, really not into it. And I'm not a negative person, so I'm not going to talk negatively about it, but I'm just not something you can never expect me to do with any kind of seriousness. In my own music, I have no need for any of those instruments. I see no purpose for them in what I do. And I have, a ton of possibilities ahead of me. And I definitely don't need any more strings. And I definitely don't want to be anywhere near those instruments. But anybody who likes to use them, you should use them. Because like we were saying before, it's just music. And you should do what makes you happy and what you're excited about and all that kind of stuff. 8s bum me out. 7s bum me out. I don't want to play them. And so not for me, but for people that they are for, they're really for. And yeah, I'll just watch those people like Meshuggah or whatever. I'm like, that's sick. Go at it. Ike is saying, I'm always grateful to all the folks who found baritone before me, who are sharing their experiences here, especially the Bunn. Oh, thanks, Ike, man. I'm stoked that all us baritoners are hanging out. Oh, by the way, something that makes me think, if you're, looking to connect with people in your area or in your country at least, or even just throughout the internet, and you'd be like, oh, I play baritone, I play this tuning, and I do this kind of style of music. So I like, I play in G standard and I play sludge jams, and I'm looking for other people to collaborate in this area in Toronto. I live in Toronto, and yeah, I don't know too many people in Toronto that play baritone guitar, that play anything like what I'm doing. So I'd love to connect with more people here. But, the same is probably true for most of you. So yeah, if you want to share that in the chat, you can totally do that. But if you're also open to internet collaborations, and you want to just post it in the chat, be like, hey, if anybody's up for a collaboration, I am in this tuning and I do this sort of style, hit me up. So yeah, highly recommended. And last comment. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Self-Inflatable designed this, actually. It's very dark, but it's the Bunn Shred mug. No longer available. Not available at the moment. May come back into stock, but currently out of stock. So we're going to grab one more comment. Eights are great. Druv Jane, here we go. Druv, I'm planning out a bass 6 style build, as you might have guessed. Jazz bass style body with Bogley guitars, 30-inch conversion aluminum neck. Oh, wow. That's wild. Very cool. A jazz bass style body. That sounds cool. I would love to see that guitar. It sounds beautiful. So I'm so into what you're talking about there, Drav. Holy. And last one. PPA music. Bunn, do you know anywhere to find the Ven CD is sold out? I want to find it and any new music coming out for 2021. Yeah, I'm working on the music right now. I actually just released a bunch of drum assets to the Patreon and YouTube member group, like Ven's drum assets, and soon we'll be doing guitar assets, and I'm putting those together because I'm working on new material. As to when it will come out, I want to do it with Theo on vocals, and I've talked to Theo about it, and Theo's into it, and he's also a very busy guy. He's a designer and all that kind of stuff, illustrator, animator. So we'll see what shakes out with that. But I have 2 new pieces of music that I'm going to package up with 4 existing pieces of music that just need to be finished, and hopefully have a 6-song EP, at least another 4-song EP. Is 4 songs an EP? Especially when they're like 1.5 minute songs. I love that punk rock thing that's super short, but I'm stoked you like it. As for CDs, whoa, excuse me. I do personally have a few copies of that left. Shipping it is a bit weird. If you can send me an email, I can let you know what the details are about that. If maybe we can link it up. So Scott at, oh, damn it. Caps lock. Scott at thebunn.ca. I might be able to get you a copy, but there's my email. Send me an email and we'll see if we can put it together. Maybe not, but let's try. Oscar from Mexico. I hope all is well in Mexico. It's nice and sunny and warm there, I'm sure. It was a cold day today here in Toronto. But yeah, I want to go to Mexico City someday soon. Apparently, everything I see about it is like, it's amazing. But yeah, cheers from Toronto. We're going to get to the last topic here. And the last topic is my bass is my baritone. And this comes up a lot. You know, it seems like maybe every time I kind of cover it, I get way more and more comments. And I think a lot of the comments are sarcastic, which is fine. I'm Asperger's, so I don't really understand sarcasm. You know, I do. I've learned how to, notice it, but a lot of times it goes over my head. But yeah, bass, I use a so-and-so bass for my baritone. And I think it's always like with Snickers on the end. Snickers. But to be honest, there's no reason why you can't do that. Like if you have a bass and you want to use your bass to go super low, like my buddy Synth Chris, He's in the chat here somewhere. Or he was in the chat here somewhere. My buddy Synth Chris, he did a track with a, I think, 5-string bass, a Schecter 5-string, 35-inch scale, and he tuned it, or he just tuned it to what it is, and he put a guitar tone on it and made a brutal track, and yeah, it sounds awesome. Does it need to sound like anything specific? Like some people are like, well, it doesn't sound like a guitar type of tone. It sounds more like a bass tone. Well, whatever. Like if you can make cool music, that's the whole point. It doesn't need to sound. This is something I noticed. Like there's a lot of folks who kind of get caught up in this idea. It's like, well, it needs to sound like what it's supposed to sound like. And I'm like, huh? What? Since when is art about those kinds of rules? It's kind of weird. I'm like, use whatever, man. You know, you want to use kids' instruments. I don't know. Like, you just use whatever to make whatever. And maybe you'll come up with something new and fun and whatever. So yeah, using a bass as a baritone. It's just like a super distorted bass. But yeah, why not? Get into it. It sounds cool. Let's actually do it. I've done it before, but... This is my new favorite bass right now. It's not new. It's very old. It's an ATK 100. It's not even an expensive one. But it was gifted to me and it was all thrashed and I brought it back to life and it's so awesome. But yeah, here we go with the bass tone. Let's where's Helix? Bam. Let's go Venn's passive tone. That sounds cool. You know, it doesn't really chug the way a guitar chugs, but yeah, if you want to use a bass, use a bass. Who cares? Don't listen to other people. That's I guess the whole point of today's episode is like, don't think for a second that this channel is about like what you're supposed to do, because it's not. It's about like, if you want to get really good results, that's what I usually talk about. But the number one rule is do art first and use whatever you want. You want to use a 21-string guitar? Use that. What is it? The war guitar or whatever? That's cool. People who can play that, awesome. But anyway, I guess the point is, yeah, none of these things are baritones, but people get caught up in what you're supposed to do. And I just kind of wanted to do an episode is like, just do whatever. And if you can make it work and you're being creative and it's fun, number one rule, have fun, be creative, use whatever you can, use whatever you got. Use what you got first. And don't worry about what you don't got. You know, a lot of folks caught up in this idea of what I don't got. Who cares about what I don't got? And you're like, Bunn, it's easy to say when you got a bunch of stuff. I understand, but I come from a long, long period of time of having almost nothing. And for a long time, having like borrowed things. I had to borrow stuff. I just made it work. I was thankful enough to have some people that would lend stuff to me. Yeah. But yeah, be creative first. Don't worry about what it's supposed to be. Don't worry about being right, I guess, is the thing. A lot of people worried about doing the right thing or being right or whatever. Who cares? Have fun. Be creative. Whatchamacallit? Okay, Hayden, we're getting back to some comments. Okay, thanks for this explanation, because I think I got the whole fundamental thing all wrong. I didn't get the cut it thing. Yeah, well, it's not about getting it wrong. It's just, you would assume that, if you're playing bass, that you would want, it kind of seems to make sense that you would want the fundamental frequency, the fundamental note of whatever that sound is. It just seems like, yeah, I would want that. But in fact, it works great without it. So don't worry about the fundamental, I guess, is the point there. Like I say, it's not about being wrong. It's just a cool tip. Don't worry about the fundamental. You can just do whatever you want and just get that fundamental out of your way. Mountain, move out of my way. Bam, bam. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but it looks like fun stuff. Miles Does Music says his guitar was basically a crossbow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds awesome. And what is the draw weight on that Gibson? I used to, do archery stuff, so I know a little bit about what you're talking about here. That's amazing. Rough Riffs, good evening. Hope you are well. Hope I didn't miss anyone. If I did miss anyone, I apologize. J Dubs, no offense on the 7-string. You should play 7-string maximally. Is that a word? J Dubs. Well, that's understandable, man. I was just wondering, I love 6s and 8s the same. Yeah. If you have a thing and it serves a purpose, that's like the number one thing. For me, the basic stuff serves the maximum purpose, and I haven't even come close to scratching the surface with that stuff. I'm not very good, to be totally honest. I say this a lot, and people are like, are you fishing for comments or fishing for, what is it? Like fishing for compliments? I'm like, no, I'm actually not very good. So yeah, I don't need any more strings. But people who can do it, awesome. My pal, Artie, he has fooled a few times with 7 strings, tuning the high string in a weird way. I think in harmony or parallel or whatever, so that he had more of a open ringing option. So the open ringing strings based off of whatever he was playing, that there was more creative options there. And it was actually pretty cool. I almost bought a 7 at one point. It was a Ibanez RGD, and I actually paid for it, and I had it for a day, and then I was like, what am I doing? And I brought it back. Bam, bam. What do we got going here? Dadamo says, I used 2 Fender Tele Baritones for years. I still write music with them now, but I have 2 8-string Kiesels now. When I play live, they're a bit more comfortable for my hands. They're also multi-scale. Right. So you can have access to all of the high notes as well as all of the low notes. Sounds like you're actually pretty good. Yeah. Kiesel makes pretty sharp instruments, like pretty precise instruments. Tyler Adams, I see what you're doing here. There's got to be a math equation out there to figure out what a hertz levels will octave at midpoint of given length. I've been looking, but I haven't found it yet. Yeah, I actually have somewhere. I do have the mathematics of scale length, mass of string, and pitch. I do have those equations somewhere. I don't know if they will lead to the answer specifically that you're looking for, but perhaps. I'll try and find that and send it your way, Tyler. And Jimbo Collins, once you fret a note, then the scale length changes. Yes. It's like, so it's magic. It's funny. So thinking about this, one of the things that I think about the most, I think, in scale length is that the notes that I'm fretting are more appropriately where they should be. Like, what's more important to me for longer scale length is actually the notes as I go up the fretboard. You know, I'm grabbing a bass for this, but like, I'm concerned with the notes up here. And I find if I have too short a scale length, I can't get the notes up here on the low string to voice appropriately in conjunction with the other strings. So yeah, I'm actually not, the longer scale length gets the notes more in a relatively optimized place, I guess. And yeah, the scale length is changed, is very short. Anthony Nieto, good night. Hope all is well. And yeah, enjoy. Hope to talk to you soon. Datamouth, have a good night. Hope all is well. Be well. Rip it up. Scott at thebunn.ci. Oh, geez. Wow. That was a long time ago. Mr. Nieto, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Can't figure out. So, Dylan Howard is saying, just got here, put a Curtis Novak path in my Squire Jazzmaster baritone. Sounds sick as F. Yeah, it should. The Novaks are sweet. My pal Artie is a big fan of Curtis Novak. And yeah, kind of got me hip to that idea. And Dylan says, also, Deftones, needles, and pins is 2 basses. Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, even Deftones is using basses for, you know, some songs. So that's cool. Apoplexy is saying, Bunn, having an onboard EQ on the bass helps a lot to cut out some of the low frequencies. Works great with an articulate amp. Yeah, I definitely find what I've found over the last few years in terms of recording bass, especially the low stuff, is I tend to use like very, very flat EQ on the basses. Like a lot of the basses, the EQ just isn't, what do you call it? Articulate enough or specific enough. But I use only the bridge pickup, no neck pickup ever. And I found that it's been easier to control. So a cool little tip that for the rest of you that might be struggling to get a good bass sound with the super low stuff, and maybe you don't have a great onboard EQ. None of my basses have a great onboard EQ. If you do, it's a huge bonus. But yeah, I keep the EQ completely flat on the guitar itself, on the bass guitar itself, and only use the bridge pickup. And I tend to get the best results that way. At first, it seems like there's not a lot of bottom end, but once you get everything done and mixed, it is plenty of bottom end. Hopefully, if you've, you know, recorded and mixed everything decently. But yeah, being able to control it at the source, like Apoplexy is saying, is ideal. And if you're, you know, afforded that luxury, awesome. And I'm Colossus says, got to cut all the bass on the 5-string bass onboard EQ knob and fiddle around with some boost, but you can get a good guitar tone off a bass. It's just a pain in the ass. Oh. Yeah, I don't see why you can't use a bass. What I just plugged in was just the bass flat. Nothing special into a guitar tone. Sounded pretty cool, and if you tweak it even further, you probably get even more out of it. So yeah, I'm all for it. Use what you can to make cool stuff. And David Sikora is saying, I've been listening to a lot of Royal Blood, and they're just a 2-piece band with one bass and one drum kit. Yeah, I got kind of hip to what Royal Blood is doing just this past year. The place where I used to work, the guy who runs the business likes to listen to music all day, and one of the bands he listens to quite a bit, or that comes up quite a bit, is Royal Blood. And I'm like, oh, this band has a really curious sound. What is going on with them? And I looked it up, and yeah, they use bass and drums, but he's the bass and a pitch effect up to get more guitar-like tones sometimes, I was like, oh, that's opposite what a lot of people do. And they do it with really, really great effect. Their music doesn't sound like anything is missing on the recordings. I've never seen them live, but at least the produced content sounds really good. And I'd like to think that they have it pretty sorted out. Maybe it's a little bit more ragged live. I'm not too sure. Have you seen them, David, live? I'm curious. And not an HCR Beto hardcore Rick Beato fanboy, although I really like the guy, but I'm playing a 24-inch in a sharp at the moment. I really wonder why all his down-tuned guitars are Les Pauls and SGs. Any input on that? Because that's what they want to use. One of the things, like when I used to work for other people in big studios, one of the things that we did all the time with Les Pauls, SGs, and everything else, Les Pauls and SGs, a lot of this is that we just tune the guitar in each position and just record that position of the chord. That happens way more than on bigger recordings. So yeah, I just kind of tune for the part and then just play that section and then move to the next section and tune there. And some things you have to kind of give up on to get the right feel or whatever. But they're constantly, with bigger productions, you're trying to find a workaround to get better tuning, better performance. And where I got hip to it is I used to work for Sony Music, and there was, some people in the studio there. I didn't work in the studio there. I worked for the backline component there. I knew all the studio guys, and they were like, this was a question, and they were like, yeah, baritone guitars, we don't even bother with tuning down regular guitars anymore, because it's too much. It takes too much time to have to tune in every position. We still have to do that a little bit with the baritones, but it's far less. And yeah, so that team at that time, I don't know who's working there now, but that team at that time, they kind of, got that in my head, and that was their workflow, and it kind of made sense to me. And then I started fussing with it, and I was like, holy jeepers, this works great. Yeah, so what you're also saying is they don't go lower than drop B, but it seems to be a thing since 70s to downtune short scales instead of strats. Yeah, short scales have a sound. 24.75 inch scale has a sound that is different than a 25.5 inch scale. I'm not sure why. Like Will's Easy Guitar, he did a little experiment where, he tuned things and metered things, and it looks like there's no difference at all the way that he conducted the test. But it seems like when I do recordings, like I get a different result. And I don't know if my ears are playing tricks on me. I've learned over the years to like trust the tuner and don't trust my ears. But yeah, I'm not too sure. But it seems like the Gibson stuff has a vibe, that the short scale stuff has a vibe. Thumpier. You know, I find with like basses, a 30-inch scale bass has a very different sound than a 34-inch scale bass tuned to the same tuning. String is usually flubbier and there's a little bit more bow to it. And yeah, it just has a different vibe. But some people have done experiments, like I say, to try and prove otherwise with really good evidence saying that there is no difference. But I don't know. I think it depends how you do the experiments. Yeah, it's all very interesting. Like I say, at the end of the day, use what you're most stoked on using. And that's the number one thing. Sean Heath is saying, Tyler Adams, I'd love to help. I think you're talking about the string tension equation. String tension and like the specific octave ranges of optimum middle octave, something like that. In a, let's say a 12 in a series of 12 partials. Not sure. You guys are going to have to figure that out. Benjamin, what are you doing there? Thank you. My night must end. Thanks as usual. Looking forward to the next discussion. Always looking forward to it, Benjamin. I hope you're well. Hope you have a great weekend, man. Not to speak ill of the living, but no love for Beto. Yeah, he's a, controversial fella. I appreciate some of the things he says. Some of the things he says, I'm like, what's going on, Mr. Beto? But whatever. It's all good. And Miles Does Music says, having too much stuff can be just as problematic as not having enough or not having stuff. Yeah, absolutely. 110%. Eccentric says, just received a short scale 30-inch Luna tattoo bass the other day. I love it. Gave the guy an old fishing pole and $20 for it. I couldn't pass on the deal. The bass is like new. Amazing. I love those kinds of deals where you just kind of, oh, it's not, I think it just crashed. Weird. Oh, well. That's cool. Mr. Cosman. Thank you, sir. Super stoked. Amazing. Hope all is well, brother. Thank you. Cosman dropped $5 to make you holla. You know it. You know it. J-Dubs. Oh my Lord. You guys are getting into the cool nerdy stuff. Hoping to find the equation that shows the range of notes that will intonate to a given length. Of the great, with the greatest amount of accuracy or at the optimum level. Whoa. $1 bills is enough when I have Miles Does Music asked me if too many $1 bills is enough when I have 50,000. You'll get there. Very cool. Thanks, Miles. You guys are having inner chat conversations. Super cool. And tip for all American folks, all USA folks, is Guitar Center has a good 48-month 0% financing right now. Schecter's and Gretsch's. baritone qualify for it the same as some pickup manufacturers. Could be a great option for some folks right now. Yeah, that's something here in Canada. Our version of Guitar Center is called Long McQuaid, and Long McQuaid has an amazing financing policy, just always, and it makes everything possible. It's incredible. It's changed my life. And Hayden's into the Railblood as well. Yeah, cool band. Yeah, if you guys start making stuff just with basses, I'd love to hear it. Watch their festival gig. David is saying live Railblood is super tight. Watch their festival gigs on YouTube. They kill it. Yeah, I guess I could do that, right? Thanks, YouTube. Man. And Apoplexia, I don't understand where all the Beato hate is coming from. Can anyone clue me in? Are people hating on his rants? I think, yeah, his like sort of complaint style videos, he does a few of those, and I think they don't really sit that great with some folks, depending on your personality. He is a very wise person. He has an incredible amount of knowledge. He's not a dummy. But yeah, I think his rants, or whatever you call them, drive a few people, certain personalities wild. Human beings, some of us don't, some of us clash. This is just how it goes. It's all good. It's all good. There's lots of apples and lots of trees. Electric Meat Puppet. Hope you're doing well. What brings you out this evening? It's 10:26. 10:26 in the mix. Gunky Zip. Here we go. We got some personal opinion on the Beato. Not liking the Beato. Never liked him, but KDH dropped a streaming hot take this morning. Saying the reason Beato's vids are educational legally is because he pimps his courses. Oh, maybe. I don't know. People got to make money. So, yeah, even I got to make money. So, it's all corporate, or not corporate. What is it? Not consumerist. Why can't I think of this word? I feel like an idiot. Capitalist. Oh my God. We live in a capitalist society. What allows us to eat? Capitalism. Is it right or wrong? I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm qualified to have a criticism of it, because I don't know enough about all the gears of it. I can see some areas where it fails people, but yeah, capitalism, I think it depends what you do with it. It's a weird thing. It's a tough topic, where to draw the line and all that kind of stuff. Ugh, damn. Oh, here we go. Facts. Capitalism. Capitalist. Yeah. I should just pay attention, or just scroll the chat. This chat doesn't auto scroll. I have to actually refresh it, because I use a secondary software. So I appreciate you guys helping out there, but it takes my use of the technology. Capitalism and consumerism are interchangeable. No, it's a very, very complicated conversation. I think to approach capitalism, consumerism, communism, any sort of system of living, to approach it lightly is irresponsible. Not to say that I'm not capable of approaching those topics, but I am not prepared to approach those topics. I think a lot of work is required before anyone really starts approaching those topics with a level of certainty and effectiveness, or being able to bring something to the table, because there are a lot of moving parts. Yeah, I don't know. Really hard topic to talk about. But yeah, capitalism is what brought us guitars and all that stuff. Makes that whole world go around. And it is partially, one of the things that's interesting about capitalism, just from a this is me speaking philosophically. This is not the nuts and bolts of capitalism, but in relationship to art and all of this stuff, it's one of the things that allows art to and self-expression to be, because one of the things that capitalism promotes is difference. Typically, the difference of opinion, the difference of product, the different competition in the marketplace means different, like opposing ideas, all these sorts of things. There's way more to it. That's not I'm not trying to make a catch-all for it, but yeah, one of the things that capitalism brings us is a whole bunch of different kinds of guitars, and different kinds of amps and all that kind of stuff. And we've seen in the past with past attempts at communism, where the state is responsible for manufacturing all things. Within China right now, they're a communist place, but they're a communist open market, communist free market, communist with a capitalist market. But prior to modifying their communism, or their platform of communism, they're socially communist and economically capitalist. But prior to that, they had to rely on the state to come up with things, and things like musical instruments just weren't even a thing. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. I am not qualified to have an educated opinion on any of it. I did not study any of it. I have not spent any part of my life analyzing it and ripping it apart. But yeah, it is interesting. That's for sure. Oh, are we way down here? Yes. Oh, wow. It's interesting. The chat, it kind of like, it populates, and then it kind of chills, and then it just explodes. And then I'm like, oh, I'm way behind again. And I'm Colossus says, Meshuggah recorded nothing with all 7 strings for the first go around of nothing. Then even had a song down to D. Yeah, just tune to the position, tune to what you need it to do. I've done a ton of records personally like that before I ever had baritones. And yeah, just make it work. Figure out a way to make it work, because yeah. And sometimes it doesn't need to work very well. That's another thing. With Meshuggah is very precise. But there is lots of music where it's just gnarly and totally out of control. It doesn't need to be precise. And who cares if it's in tune? First name, last name. Where's my government issued communist baritone? Imagine. I don't know. What would that look like? I don't know if it would be any good. I like your whatchamacallit, your avatar here, by the way. Or is that what it's called? Avatar? Yeah. Like with the fly on the blank thing. That's amazing. Yeah, if you're anti-capitalist, but you're here to talk about gear and guitars, yeah, it becomes very complicated. And it's like I say, it's a very complicated topic. So many moving parts. There is a conversation there, but like I say, I'm not qualified to speak to it with any kind of certainty. I can only speak about some of these things philosophically, which is not very useful. Yeah, this has been coming up a lot. Ike, new Quake bass. Yeah. Actually, there was a little like pro tip behind the scenes, I think pre-COVID, where Ola went over to where Meshuggah's studio is, and Ola's guitar tech is the same guitar tech for Meshuggah. And he showed Ola in one of Ola's like videos quite a while ago. He's like, yeah, we got this bass, so we can go all the way down. It's going to be awesome. And so, yeah, it's finally coming out with the use of this bass and that amazing headstock. We have to go look at that headstock. Let's take a look here. I am going to go to this. Yeah, there we go. This is it. Bam. And let's go Callium. Here we go. Callium. Sure. Stainless steel. You can tell what I was looking for before, eh? Stainless steel strings. Boom. Here we go. The Callium. The Quake bass. Bold color. Bold sound. Pretty sick. Learn more. Here we go. Bam. The Callium difference. Terms and conditions. Let's go multi-scale bass. Custom Quake bass. Bam. That headstock. Amazing. I do like that it's available in straight and fan frets, which is pretty amazing. And it starts at $2,250 or $225 US, which is not like, that's not a crazy price. Given this is a very small run, very niche instrument. That's a very, very decent price for such a thing. Fret stop, parallel, white markers. What if we get none? Yeah. Gig bag, black, alder, other wood species. Yeah. That's perfectly fine for me. Straight frets or parallel frets. We got to use that term more, guys. Parallel frets. I don't hear that term enough. We're going to change the game. Are you rocking the parallel or the multi-scale frets? Nobody says fan anymore. Fan fret. I don't hear that very much anymore. I hear parallel, or I hear multi-scale all the time. It does mean what it means, so I guess it's fine. But yeah, surprisingly affordable instrument given how niche it is, but it's probably what makes it cheap is so affordable is that headstock. Oh, I'm such a mean guy. I'm so mean. Quake is going to send me a letter and they're going to be like, you're such a jerk, Bunn. I'm like, I'm sorry. And Apoplexy is saying, next Canadian Prime Minister needs to issue one instrument of choice per citizen. Imagine the government assigned us an instrument. Oh, that would be awful. What do we got? Give me a few moments. You lost me at politics, religion, and sports. Yeah. It's, there was, I can't remember how it started, but I was like, oh, well, capitalism is what brings us all these amazing instruments and whatnot. Is it perfect? Probably not, but I'm not educated to speak on the topic. So just want to be clear there. Self-Inflatable says, the Quake bass is ugly everywhere. It's not just a headstock. I could live with the rest of it. I would make do with the rest of it to have that scale length. But I have a hard time getting past that headstock for any amount of money, for free, to pay me. Here's $4,000. Take this bass. I'd be like, oh, do I have to play it in public? Yeah. Weird. That's a very surface, very, whatever thing. But I have such a hard time with that headstock. It just makes me crazy. But I really appreciate what they're doing technically with the instrument, with the scale length and all that. So I love their strings. I think their strings are the best strings on earth. It's hard to get them. It takes a long time to get them, but yeah. And Dylan is like, I agree with the Canadian PM instrument statement. What if that's all you get though, and you get French horn? And it's like, I don't want to play French horn. What is horn au français? Plexia, help me out. La horn français. The French horn. What is it au français? Horn. Je sais pas. Je peux pas pense la mot pour ça. No, we get to choose the instrument. Okay. We're setting the ground rules here. I don't know if anyone's going to choose the Quake bass though. Somebody will. There are a few people out there that are like, yeah, give it to me. Like Meshuggah. And Connor's saying, I don't find the headstock too offensive, but the body, not so much. You don't like the body. Yeah. It does have a weird swoop to it. It looks like they took the body in Photoshop and kind of just like stretched it out. It doesn't look real. It looks like a Photoshop mistake, but it's not. It was made by hands. It's so weird. That's all good. Whatever. It's like, I really appreciate the company. Like I really do. I just, and part of my, I guess it's criticism. I usually don't criticize too much, but my statements here are that I wish it was different because I really want to just love it and be all over it. I want it bad, but we're talking about it. So I guess that's good marketing, make something offensive to get the word out. Français, corps français. Corps frannaise. Corps is horn. And frannaise is like French horn. What is frannaise? I've never heard frannaise in relationship to whatchamacallit, French, like specific of French, but I don't know French very well. Je peux pas parler français très bien, mais je suis Canadien, so j'ai étudié français à l'école. Français. Oh, okay. France. I get it. It was a typo. Corps français. There we go. French horn. I'm going to make t-shirts that just says Corps français, French horn. They're going to be the dumbest shirts ever. Hayden hates Telecaster standard headstocks. Those are my favorite headstocks. Favorite headstock in the world. Telecaster headstock. So, yeah, we can all agree to disagree. Which makes everything way more fun. Gunky Zip says, Tool is great, but I doubt Beato understood how the music meant to me in the 90s. Yeah. I think our big takeaway on today's conversation is we don't have to agree. We just have to be creative, make things, and be friends. Talk to each other, exchange information, understand things, have differences of opinion, makes things more interesting. And it's why people end up, making wild things like the Quake bass. I'm pointing at it like it's still open. And here we go. Connor says, how about reverse tele headstocks like Chapman? I honestly prefer them that way. I like the way the Chapman ones are, but when people take the Warmoth builds and they just flip a standard tele headstock upside down, for some reason it doesn't work. But the Chapman tele headstocks do seem to work upside down. Like better than a real tele headstock would. So that's kind of interesting. I think it's a bit more bulbous, and maybe that's why. I'm not sure. Is bulbous a word? Yeah, it's a word. And B Noisy 3 or B Noise 3 is asking about corn. Is that the origin of cornet? Cornet. Got to roll that R for it to be officially French. Although I think Parisian French, they don't really roll their R's. Cornet. Maybe not. I don't know. Make a t-shirt with a baritone and written underneath ceci encore français. Oh, vraiment. I will do that. Cookie Zip, what are you doing there? Sorry, I'm congesting your feet. That's totally cool. That's what we're here to do. We're here to hang out. Super fun. Randy is saying, good evening, my brothers, and greetings from Southern Illinois. Greetings from Toronto, dude. Hope all is well. Hope things are, I hope your life is relatively safe. It's getting crazy here in old Toronto with the Corvid. Yeah, hope all is well in Illinois, sunny Illinois. Miles does music. He's stoked right now. He's like, I'd buy that shirt. And the shirt he's talking about is what Apoplexy and I are brainchilding here. A baritone guitar, but written underneath, STND français, which is French for, this is a French horn. It's so weird. I'm going to totally do it. It'll sell for, it might not sell at all. It might just be good for social media. It's so stupid and awesome. Oh yeah, Rob Ford closed the Ontario-Quebec border. Yeah, it's getting pretty jiggy here. We got a curfew now, midnight curfew in Toronto, and I think that's because like young people have been out partying, and that's the biggest part of the problem in the hospitals. It's all these like 20, 30 somethings partying it up. How did you contract this? Who else were you around? Because they need to trace it. And they're like, oh, it's a bunch of young people partying. So, yeah. And the Belgians roll their R's like Jacques Brel. Yeah. I come from North Ontario, Sudbury, and the French there is gross, and yeah, everything is rolled, and it's pretty dirty. Valtarais and Mer. So funny. Connor is saying, oh, you guys are, yeah, I've seen those. Nice and stealthy. How about the Stephen Carpenter ones? Love that green sparkle personally. Yeah, the Stephen Carpenter, I think the thing about the Stephen Carpenter anything models that just purely aesthetically, that I'm stoked on, and it is purely an aesthetic thing, is those the humbuckers side by side with the middle position humbucker, like not really having much purpose, but it looks cool. I have to agree. It does, for some reason, it looks really cool. I don't know what it is, but I'm really into it. And Electric Wing Puppet is saying, I have a Chapman. It's pretty good, but I think the guy that put the string trees on was drunk that day. Super weird. Yeah, I had a Chapman Baritone, and it's funny. I bought the guitar specifically to give away in a contest, and I did. But the first one that I got, it had a hump in the neck. And like it was in B in the store, and I tried it out, and I'm like, oh, it seems to play pretty good. And I got it home, and I dropped it down to G, like changed the strings, dropped it down to G. I was getting ready to make a video, and or getting ready to do the research to make the video, and I couldn't set it up, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, oh, the neck is weird in this one spot, and I didn't have very precision instruments, like very precision tools at the time to really get in there and like see how flat the board was or whatever. I adjusted it a bunch and nothing was happening. And then I brought it back to the store that I bought it in, and a bunch of guys were like, just salespeople. They're like, oh, I don't know. It seems fine, whatever. And then they brought it to the tech, and the tech is like, oh yeah, this neck is toast. I'm like, oh man. And it was like, up to that point, it was really difficult to get the guitar. There's not very many dealers here in Canada and all this sort of thing. And so I'm like, what can I do? Like, can it be the frets be leveled or whatever? He's like, no, it's really toast. He's like, we're going to have to get a new neck. So they ordered a new neck from Chapman and, put it on, and then it was fine. It was great. The guitar was amazing, actually. But yeah, that first one, I was like, oh man. And, I did some research, and it seemed to be a somewhat isolated thing, but yeah, it seems like some of the lower priced Chapmans, are generally really good guitars, but every now and then, just like anything, one comes out that isn't 100%. So, but I think this is the case for all manufacturing. I know people who have, spent unbelievable money, like $3,000-$4,000 on very prestigious instruments, only to get a lemon. So every now and then, yeah, people get unlucky. It's unfortunate. And that's the key to successful art. Remix the past. Homage to René Magritte. I don't know René Magritte, but I will check him out or check her out. Not sure. René, I can't remember the differentiator in masculine, feminine René, because I know René is a popular man's name as well. Our curfew is 8 p.m. Holy jumping. So you guys are back in curfew. So Apoplexy is in Montreal, Canada, which is this probably the next biggest city in all of Canada to Toronto. And but they got rocked by COVID early, like really, really badly. And we're just starting to get like so rocked by it. It's so bad right now. It's unbelievable. But 8 p.m. Damn it. Those damn kids out there licking rails. Yeah, probably. The bush party, flashy green one. Oh, here we go. Stephen Carpenter, Flashy Green One was indeed the first ever telly that had caught my eye attention literally ever. Yeah, I like the shape of those. Yeah, I would be happy with just a black one. Is there such thing as a 6-string Telecaster Stephen Carpenter? I feel like I've looked. Elmer. Oh, Apoplex is saying if I said Almer, no. Anmer, Hanmer. Hash. Hash A-N Al. I don't even know what I'm spelling. I'm talking up to the microphone. There's a microphone up here. Oh, I got it out of here so I could use the keyboard and such. 10:55. We're going to wind her down in about 5 minutes. I'm going to go and, check in on my girly. So, whatchamacallit? Glass Ram says bought a Squire Base 6 a couple of weeks ago. They're back in limited stock. Fender said the rest are stuck in shipping containers at the border due to the current state of things. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff going. There's that big container ship that is stuck, I can't remember, in Egyptian harbor because they have to pay like a $90 billion charge for them blocking the canal. I can't even imagine how much inventory is on that ship. That's going to F a lot of stuff up. And Hayden saying the double middle humbucker is effing sexy. I try not to curse. Yeah, it is. It's got this thing to it. I don't know why, but it just does. And it seems a lot of people agree. And Gunky Zip is saying a fun baritone shirt. Strap body starts low, then the neck wraps all the way around the back and onto the right sleeve. Yeah, you'd have to get that printed. You could do it. What do you call it? You do a cut and sew, but you'd have to get it printed and then sewn together. But I actually have a source for that, so maybe that could happen. Famous painting. Oh yeah, Cinepa and Pip. Apoplexia. I know exactly who you're talking about. That artist. Totally. I just watched a documentary a couple days ago, and that guy comes up. He comes up a lot. FGN. I'm not sure what that is, but and Connor's saying, I don't think so, not for that Telly model anyway. Oh, the Stephen Carpenter Telly in a 6. That would be sweet. Or maybe I don't know. I wish ESP or what is it? LTD for the more affordable instruments would do longer scales. They always do 27-inch scale. So I don't wish anything from them until they start making longer scale instruments. They have a baritone Telly ESP LTD, maybe a 7-string style Telly. I don't think they have I've never seen a 27 Telly from ESP or LTD, but maybe they have one now. I'll check. David, have a good night. You're very welcome. You're always welcome here, and stoked you had a good time. It's a wild time here at Bunn Labs. We're going to shut her down in 1 minute. Ever given like 1 billion USD? Is it $1 billion exactly? I don't know, but I know it's a lot of money for the Egypt freighter that got stuck. That probably has a ton of guitars on it. We don't really know, but I wonder if there's a way to find out that detail. I'm sure a lot of manufacturers don't really want to volunteer that information because they're probably scrambling to be like, how do we get our inventory and not have to mark it up? Like, yeah, what's going to happen to the cost of inventory? Who's going to pay that bill? It's so wild. Ugh. Episode goes. And I'm Colossus has an ESP SC6 607, hates the middle humbucker. Annoying. I guess, does your pick always hit on it? I just like the way it looks. I've never actually played it, so I have no idea. Good night, Ike. Have a great night. I'm going to wind her down here, guys. Was a great evening once again. Last few little bits here. Chat makes a baritone tele 6-string. Yeah, the Bia, Cody. And rock on. Have a great night. Gunky Zip, great weekend. Electric Meat Puppet. Have I tried the new Rockiver model? I have not. I just updated today, and I updated for a different reason than to get lost in all the models. I didn't have time today, but I will fool around with it a little bit more over the weekend. Not sure. It always hits the yeah, I could see that. You're picking and it's just, you got to lower the humbucker out of the way. FGN is probably a manufacturer. Court is a big manufacturer, obviously. And Samick is also a huge manufacturer of all the import stuff. Good night, Benoist. Good night, Miles. Good night, everyone. I hope y'all all well. Stay safe. It's a wild world out there. We're going to shut her down. And yeah, if you like the channel, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. If you don't like the channel, don't subscribe. But yeah, have an amazing weekend. And yeah, just be good to yourself and others around you.